Let's get this party started. Steady Avenue. Hi, friends. Hello, every human that is on this call. It's Thursday. Hi. Let me see all your beautiful faces. Welcome, welcome. So like always, if you want to pop in the chat and tell us one word that describes your week. One word. How y'all doing? Let's see what we got. Okay. Yay, guys. This is good. Okay. Messy, better, powerful, restorative, tired, emotional. Aw, thanks, Margaret. Comforted, peaceful, confused, question mark? I like that. You're like, transformative, finished, productive, restoration, seeking. I like that one. I haven't heard that one yet. Seeking. Surrendered, emotional, conflicted, transformational. Guys, these are so good. Sounds like you're going through a lot this week in like the best ways. Yeah, fun. Okay, well, I'm going to do a bit of housekeeping, but first I just want to say that Jenny is our guest speaker. Yay! Oh, and Sammy does this in the beginning. Why doesn't everyone unmute themselves and just say hi so we can hear your voices?
Hello.
Hi.
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 Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys. That was beautiful. I love it. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping like we normally do, and Jenny's going to take it over and
Hey guys.
your socks off. Hi. He's like, I miss my hands. Yeah, so yeah, you guys know the drill. I think, or let me check if anyone has their thing on. If you could mute yourself. Let's see here real quick. Thanks, guys. Okay. Yeah, so let me see here. If this is your first time, this is your first call, we just want to say welcome. Welcome to the family. These are the best. And then if you are being coached, if Jenny picks you and picks your question, we just ask that you give her the meat and potatoes of what's going on. And then if she has any questions that she wants to ask you for more info, she can ask you. And then also for everyone else on the call, if it is connecting with you and it's resonating with you, go ahead and just take it for yourself and act like you're being coached and just take it in. So, okay, I think that's everything. And I'm going to give it to Jenny.
Awesome. Thank you, Taylor. Hello, ladies. Happy Thursday. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Jenny. So good to be with you guys. So good to see your faces. So good to hear your voices at the beginning of that call. Your voices are so important. And this call, this season, this life, this generation, it wouldn't be the same without your voice. I just want to speak a huge covering and blessing over each and every single one of your voices, that there is a reinforcement behind your voice. There's a reconciliation, that all fear and shame is broken off of each of your voices in Jesus' name. So good. You're going to hear my pup in the background. This is his Zoomy time. So he's running around with a toy. I do apologize in advance. He is camera shy too, but if I get a good close up, I'll show you guys. So good. I would love to know where each of you guys are from. Maryland is home for me. I'm on the East Coast, but I'm currently in Florida right now. I saw some Virginia represent the DMV area. So good. I love learning where each of you guys are from. I love that. Awesome. I actually just want to share a little bit about myself too, just to introduce myself to those of you who haven't heard from me. Oh, cool. I see some neighbors. So fun. Granny, Pennsylvania. Cool, Ariana. Yeah, we live nearby. I love that. I'm going to definitely go check those out in a little bit. Yes. I just want to introduce myself a little bit and build a little trust with you guys. Sam and Spence, they absolutely love Thursday night so much, but unfortunately, a family emergency came up for them today. So we're going to spend a minute or two praying for them. It is really heartbreaking for them to miss this time. So you guys are very precious to them, and I know that they wish that they could be here. So yeah, but a little bit about me. So I have always worked in the mental health world and in the nonprofit world. I'm going to be 30 years old this year. So I've been in the workforce for 8 years outside of college, which is really cool. I went to college in Baltimore, Maryland. And I used to bartend as my pretty much main source of income because the nonprofit world and even the mental health world, if you're not getting sourced through government funding, is tough to make it in. But I lost my job as a bartender through COVID of last year. And I threw a massive pity party because I couldn't afford my house and I got flooded with a ton of beliefs of lack around finances. So that was a really rocky time for me this time last summer, but I threw myself a little temper tantrum and then I put on some big girl pants and I decided to rent out my house to create an extra source of income. And I share that with you guys. There's so many things I could have shared about my story, but that is kind of what came to my heart to share with you guys, to be known in by you guys, because this process works. The Jenny 2 years ago, 6 years ago, would have totally laid down to the circumstances of COVID, would have just let the waves of the circumstances around her just become the truth and what I had to deal with. And I felt a glimmer of that this time last year, but my response ultimately was so drastically different, so connected to power, so connected to the authority that God gives each and every single one of us. And I know that that's a fruit of this process of Come Alive and of really cultivating a lot of intimacy with God. And so if you're here, if you are questioning what the heck you just invested in, what the heck you are devoting your time to and dedicating honestly a lot of emotional energy to, I just want to encourage you that it works. There's abundance and there's freedom for you to step into. There are cycles that no longer have to be your reality. You get to stand up out of those. You get to make powerful decisions. You get to be creative with your options. You don't just get failure and success. You have more than that. And my heart for you tonight, Holy Spirit, my heart for this community, this collective, is that there would be an abundance of options presented to them, that you would just reinstate creativity in each one of your daughters in Jesus' name. Would you just realign them to the identity that you have created and so uniquely crafted for each one of them? I pray that every individual desire, every individual hobby, interest, likes, anything that makes your heart come alive, I just pray that there's no shame surrounding any of those things, that it would just be broken off in a supernatural exchange with you, God, tonight on this call. I'm expecting for you to show up and to reinstate things for each and every single one of your daughters. God, and if you haven't made your presence so tangibly known for anyone on this call, would you just come and take your rightful place, God? Just come right into the center of their focus, right into the center of their world. Would you just envelop them in your love? Would you just introduce yourself to them in a new way? Would you lead by example in creativity, God? I just pray for just a supernatural opening of eyes, ears, and hearts on this call. Anyone who just needs a touch from you, that they would be brave enough to open themselves up to you, God. Yeah, thank you so much, Jesus. Would you just be with our sweet Robin's family, our fearless leaders. And to just cover them, just remind them of the stability that you've created in their life. Would you just remind them of the truth of who they are? May they not be able to stray by any ounce of fear. May they not be shaken by any circumstance, God. God, would you just be the miracle worker that I know you to be? We love you, Jesus. We want to learn from you today. Would you just come and be our teacher? Amen. Yeah. Okay, you guys. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for staying on when you learned that there was a guest speaker. I love that. Okay, I have a list of some questions, so we are going to dive right in. And Tucker, you are in week 5 and you're starting to date again. Ooh, yeah. Tell me more. How's that process going for you?
Okay, so I've been single for 7 years, which is like, it feels like a lifetime. And honestly, I've learned to just be so content with that. Like so good with myself. So like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a really good place. I also moved into my own apartment about 7 months ago now. So it's the first time ever in my life living on my own. And that was really scary at first. And like, really like, I at the beginning of that process really was like, oh my gosh, I desire relationships so much right now. Like I really want to be doing life with someone. I think that's what it really revealed to me. And it was hard in the beginning. And I had like a little bit of dating experience, but nothing great. Like anytime like I would, have something with a guy, like immediately I was like, this is not good. I don't need this. And then I would kind of go through the process of just like going back to like being okay with singleness. And I feel like right now I haven't prior to this past week, I haven't dated for, I went on a date with someone, I think the end of December. And then I started the Alive and Free process and didn't date for several weeks and just felt like I was in a really good place. Not necessarily like ready to date necessarily, but being like, no, I could get back on online dating or whatever. And now I'm doing it. And I don't know what happened last week, but I must have like been putting some type of energy out into the world, because 5 different men actually asked me out on a date, like men that I had kind of vetted through and been like, no, I would go on a date with them. And I've never done that before. Normally it's just like the online dating process is super weird for me. And I'm just like talking to one person at a time, I feel like. But this week has been really crazy and really emotional. And I think like there's a couple reasons why, but I've gone on 4 dates and I have 1 more tomorrow. And 4 out of 5 have been horrible. Like maybe not horrible, but like, I don't know. I think I'm just like trying to figure it out, because I feel like part of me is like, I have such high expectations for like the man that I'm looking for. And at the same time, I'm trying to like not have this like such high stakes view of dating and just have fun with the process. But it's so emotionally exhausting. Like talking to men and then hyping it up in your head. And then when you meet them and it's horrible, it's like they're not who you thought, or yeah. Also my cat, he hears me talking, so he's totally gonna like want attention.
Oh, he wants your attention. I love that. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I would love to see just like tons of claps all across this chat for the fact that you are doing it. You are putting yourself out there. You go, girl. This process is emotionally draining and taxing. Getting to know so many people with the contingency of like, oh, I'm actually also interviewing you for future hubby. Like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah, totally. It's so interesting to me that you moved out 7 months ago and you're living on your own for the first time. And as soon as you got into your apartment, you were like, "Oh man, I'm now really aware that I want to be with someone." It's almost like opening yourself up to being in a relationship was a sense of comfort. And if it wasn't comfort, you finally actually just felt available and free to pursue
Yeah,
that avenue.
yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. I can see both those things. I think I've always desired relationship, but I've been in one serious relationship in my life and it was not good and I stayed for way too long and I am used to seeing my mom especially in like a really toxic and abusive relationship um, that she's been in for a very very long time because honestly she is like too afraid to be alone. And I've always feared that for myself. And I did get myself in a situation like that. And so I think when I became single again, I really was like, well, I'm not going to enter into a relationship again unless it is like so clear from the Lord. Actually, for a really long time, I prayed that I just like didn't want, like, I wanted it to be so clear from the Lord that I was like, God, the next man to ask me out, like, better be the man that I marry. I don't want to have to go through another breakup. I don't want to have to feel like, I just want to know. And I think almost like praying that prayer for so long made it so high stakes to feel like, well, if I date again, it better be the person I married because for years I prayed to God that like I wouldn't have to go through another breakup. And yeah, I think there's just something really, really scary about potentially attaching myself to someone who might not be good. And also, yeah, I do want to not just date, not just date for someone to fill that. Like I really want to date for a kingdom purpose and ultimately marriage for a kingdom purpose, really.
Yeah, totally. Super honorable. And I can really hear your heart in this. I'm curious if you do attach yourself to someone who's not a good man, what's at risk if that happens? What's on the table?
I don't, it's so weird, but I feel like for some reason I tie a lot of my worth and value to that. And I almost feel like I will be less worthy of a woman. Like I feel like on my own and being so content in the Lord, I'm strong and I know my worth. I know my myself super well. And I think that I'm almost afraid of losing myself. And also, I think there is a piece that like caring about what other people think. I live a lot of my life on social media because I have an online business and I'm not going to share that I'm dating someone for a while. Like I'm not going to like open up to that part of myself to like my followers and stuff like that until I know it's true. But I think there is a piece that like I do care what other people think too. And like I want to be in something that is like really, really good for myself, but also like that looks good on the outside too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And you mentioned that. You said you have pretty high expectations for the man that you want to be with. Um, yeah, what are some of the things that you know that you want and you won't settle for less?
Yeah. So there's three main things, and I don't even actually think they're that like crazy wild out there. Like a lot of men could fall into these categories, a lot of different men, but also not when you're like in the online dating space. Number one is obviously faith. Like, and I don't know, this is something that I've wrestled with a lot. And I think even like being on this process has maybe opened my heart up a little bit to be like, okay, maybe they won't be like, I would love for them to like know the Lord very intimately in the same way that I do. Cause I think that's something that just like, yeah, like that is such a big part of my life. And I think I'm maybe a little bit more open to someone who maybe isn't at the same place, but knows the Lord. But ultimately looking for a partner who has a relationship with Jesus and a strong relationship. Number 2, I'm like super ambitious and committed to growth and like wanting, like, I think there are so many men these days, and I don't want to hate on men, but like a lot of the guys that I'm talking to are really one-dimensional, really like just kind of going through the motions of life. And I'm not like that. Like, I'm like reaching for more, and like I need someone who's like can keep up with me in that way, and like they can have their own passions, they can have their own things, I'll support them in that, they can, you know, support me in what I'm doing. But that's a huge thing. And then the third thing is just, I want someone who I can have so much fun with. Just like, I feel like, I mean, this is what I feel like is lacking on like the last 4 or 5 dates I've been on. I like leave it and I'm like, that was okay. Like, they were nice, but I didn't really have fun. Like, that wasn't actually fun. And I'm like, if I'm gonna get married and be married to someone for the rest of my life, like, I want to have fun with them. I want to do adventures. Like, I want to feel like this is exciting. And I haven't had that happen. And I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, I don't know. Like, I hear my best friend, she goes on dates and like, she's like, oh, that was so great. And I'm like, I literally have never, and they're not always horrible, but I'm like, I wouldn't, like, I don't know. So those are kind of my 3 things.
I love that so much. And I feel you carry all of those things. So it makes a lot of sense why you'd be looking for those things in someone else. As soon as you popped on, I could tell that you were interested in having fun, but that you also cared a lot about depth. And I think that someone who can go deep will find faith at the bottom of their deep digging of wells. Like, I think that you can't not find faith when you go deep. And I also think the same is true for fun. I think that as you learn God and you know him, it's impossible to not have fun. As you become free as an individual, it's impossible to not be fun as well. And that can look a lot different for a lot of different people, but I don't think that you can have one without the other. I think that fun and depth, well, I guess I think that faith and fun are the byproducts of being able to go deep. And so all of that makes so much sense if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, I love this. I think that you are 100% allowed to look for those things, to wait for those things, to make your list 10 times longer of things that you look for. I think that you are absolutely allowed to do that. And I think what my heart is for you is to find a way to detach worth and value and a desire that other people approve of your decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's a really hard and scary process to like open myself up again. And I think because I have been single for so long, like the fantasy of like what I am looking for and expecting like is safer and more secure than actually getting to know someone. And I feel like that's like has been like the longing of my heart, is like wanting to feel safety and security in the process of dating. And like it doesn't feel like that. Like on Tuesday night, I went out with a guy, and like at the end of the date, he tried to kiss me, which was like, he was just not reading things well, because I did not have that desire at all. And I am just like, I'm not going to kiss on the first day. I'm just not that. I mean, I don't think necessarily there's anything wrong with that, but like that is not me. And I was not feeling it with this person. And I felt like it was really like such an invasion of my space. Like, I think if someone's going to kiss me, I want them to ask if it's okay. And like, maybe that's too much of an expectation. I don't know, but it just like, it felt like so scary and unsafe to me that I had to like, be like, oh wait, no. Like, I had to like, be like, don't And then I apologized. And then I unapologized because I'm like, no, I should not apologize for this. Like, I can say, no, don't kiss me. Like, I don't, you know, and I don't know. There's just something that like, just like, I think like I really am wanting safety and security in that process. And I feel it feels unsafe.
Yeah, totally. I think in our unsafety too, we have to work so hard to pretend to feel safe, like to just fake it till you make it, to throw yourself out there. You're never going to know unless you try. All of that is like you championing yourself, you being your own cheerleader just to convince yourself to show up. And that's totally okay for now. I think that's where most of us start. And yeah, I think when there is so much fear and there is so much convincing needing just to keep trying and just to keep showing up, it could be really tempting for you to take a one strike and you're out kind of rule.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But those three things that you described, depth, faith, and fun, you can't go deep unless you dig in the dirt and you get messy and you work hard and you sweat and you don't look polished. And you can't know faith unless you have had unbelief and wrestling with God, grueling wrestling to get to that gold underneath. And you can't really know fun unless you know what it's like to be without fun. Like you laugh harder because you've known seasons where there was no laughing. And all of those things that you described are necessary. And again, you have 100% permission to triple it as your non-negotiable list. But everything you listed has a huge element of humanity. Those are humans on the other side of those qualities, trying really hard, convincing themselves to show up to the plate for the first time. And if they walked away after one strike, they would never become the man that you deserve and that you're looking for. What does that bring up in you, if anything?
I think, honestly, I've never had a second date. Like I said, I've had like, probably like, since I started the online dating process in general, I've probably been on like 7 dates and never done a second one because I've never felt like, I don't know, either there have been like red flags that come up that I'm like, ugh, like I don't know, no, not doing this. Or just, again, there was that lack of connection that I just felt like, no, this isn't worth it. And I think that, I don't know, I think I'm just so unsure about the process because I expect that like on a first date, like I will know, not even necessarily that like they're gonna be the man that I marry or not, but like felt like that like we clicked really well, or like, you know. And I think, I don't know, like I'm almost confused with what you're saying of like, am I just like not giving these guys enough of a chance? Like, I think for me, I don't know. I think I'm trying to figure out how to trust myself in this process of like, okay, am I shutting them out because of fear, or am I actually like trusting my intuition? And I'm like, well, I don't want to waste my time if I didn't really like see potential in the first date, you know?
Yeah. You landed at a good boxing match right there. When you say that, am I cutting these guys off because I'm not giving them enough of a chance? Or I think I'm just using my intuition and reading the red flags appropriately. Which one feels more true, or do they both feel true?
I think the intuition feels more true.
Yeah, great. So you can take that off the table as part of the fear that's stopping you. And not only can you take that off the table, but you can reinforce the fact that you're trusting your intuition right now. That's an area of dating and getting to know people that you are killing it in. You're rocking it. That is a very necessary thing in this dating process. I actually heard this morning that you aren't dating, you're vetting. And I kind of hated it, but I also think that I needed to hear it. Like, I think it just pierced me personally, but that it's an interview and vetting process.
That's me.
You're interviewing them.
I really am.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think is stopping the first dates from going to the second date?
I think that I don't know. In a way, I feel like I cling to whatever I didn't like. And I'm like, yep, wouldn't want that in a future partner. Not going to waste my time there. Going to start looking for someone else.
Yeah. That's good. And with the information that's gathered, you can make really powerful decisions in your discernment. And it sounds like the discernment is on point. I'm curious if the information gatherer is fully where you want it to be, or if it has any sort of filters on it.
What do you mean by that?
So yeah, I love just scientific, biological aspects of the brain, and where it talks in the course about the prover and the projector, that just lights me up inside, and that's super exciting to me. Our belief systems are standing at the control center of our prover, and it's scanning for evidence that's proving our beliefs to be true. And so if our belief system says, I deserve this, this, and this, and I don't want to settle until I find it, I believe God that He'll provide it for me. I trust men that they exist. I believe that men are good. I believe that marriage is good. If those are what the beliefs sound like, then not only is your discerner correct and saying no to the red flags when it should be, but your information gatherer is also correct. Your set of belief systems that are gathering information to let you know if they're hitting the mark or not, everything is working well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about your beliefs when it comes to men and dating?
I think that as far as gathering information, I feel like I'm good at that. I feel like I can I ask really good questions, and I'm not afraid to go deep, especially after we've been talking for a little bit and then are meeting in person or whatever. I think that, the information gathering is fine, but it's almost like that feeling that I'm missing. Again, I've never walked away from a date and been like, wow, I really want to see that person again. I've never had that feeling. And I'm like, is that real? Is that worth me waiting for? Am I supposed to have that? Or is that just this fairy tale idea that maybe you don't feel all these sparks on the first date, and that's okay. It's still worth getting to know someone. Or again, kind of seeing a red flag and maybe it's not even I don't know, I had a FaceTime date on Tuesday, and this guy just wanted to talk theology the whole time. And I was okay, to some degree, this is interesting. And he was so excited about it. And I'm sure it's because he does not find many Christian girls who are actually into talking about that. But I was I don't want to talk about this the whole time. This is boring to me. I don't know, like you're too intense right now. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to give that person another chance. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Totally. I'd love for you to close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And every lady on this call, this is something that you can participate in as well. And I'm going to say a couple of phrases, and I want you to notice the very first word, one word that comes up in response to what I say. So, what is one word that comes to mind when you think of kittens?
Wait, say that again.
What is one word that comes to mind when you think of kittens?
Starburst. Who's my cat?
I love it. What about blue skies?
Clouds.
What about God, the Father?
Love.
What's your idea of fun?
Adventure.
Where would you like to travel?
The beach.
What's your favorite book of the Bible?
Hosea.
What's one thing that you want to do in your future?
Write a book.
What do you think about when you think of your mom?
Pain.
In your heart?
When I think of my heart.
Yep.
Disconnection.
What about communication?
Good or positive.
Yeah. What do you think of when you think of men?
Almost unsafe.
And marriage?
Like commitment forever.
What about divorce?
My life. Like my reality.
What about infidelity?
Brokenness.
What do you think of when you hear the word heaven?
Peace.
What's one thing that you hope other people see when they look at you?
Joy.
Yeah. What do you think of when you hear online dating?
Fear.
Yeah. And a first date?
Like high stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You did really good. I think that's all I'll poke at for now. It's an interesting exercise that you guys can do if you are curious about some of your emotions and beliefs behind different circumstances in your life. And when you heard marriage, You said unsafe. Dating was high stakes. I'm sorry, you said men were unsafe. And that divorce was your reality. That one feels like it hits hard. Yeah. Yeah, so it could be possible, Ange, that you're walking into this whole thing believing that men are unsafe and proving that belief to be true when you scan for information. And it's possible that when you look ahead to the future, you believe that divorce is for you and in your future. It will be your reality. And if you carry that belief with you into marriage, you will find evidence to prove it to be true or to prove it to sound like a good option. You will just go in that direction. That's how it works to be a human. Where do you think that idea that men are unsafe, where do you think that first came from in your life?
I think in a like romantic sense, I feel like I was never really taken good care of by men, and I have been in situations where men have known my boundaries and crossed them, and just really hard and painful situations there. But I also think that even going back further, like my relationship with my dad, I'm sure is a huge part. My dad was not a place of safety or security. He loved me, he was there for me emotionally, but he did not show up. He did not provide well for my sister or I.
That makes so much sense to me, why that belief would be lodged in your brain. And I bet if you had a better example of men in your life, you'd have a better set of beliefs about them. I believe that we intrinsically want to know the good in people, that we want to believe that they're trustworthy and good and full of love. I think that we're born with that unconditional love. And then experience humanity, it breaks those things down. Yeah. I remembered reading that you were in week 5, and so you're embarking on encounters, which is such a fun part of the course. And so you mentioned that there were a couple experiences where men have known your boundaries and crossed them. I would like to just highlight that to you, that could be worth applying and going after in the homework of weeks 5 and 6 of the course.
Yeah, that's good.
And if you'd like to, you also realized a deeper root of this same belief with your dad. And so I would love to walk with you through something if you're open to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You're so brave and you're so strong. And I can tell that you're so hungry. Yeah. I'd love for you to close your eyes. You can put your hand on your heart if it helps you feel connected. I just want you to start recalling what it was like growing up with your dad. Just let me know as some things come to mind.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't really ever there. Like he was there, but always distracted, always looking for something else to fill him almost, and I was never a priority, ever. Not really seen. He worked a lot, but like also really struggled financially and just was not reliable at all.
Yeah. How old were you when you started getting that perspective on him? How old do you feel right now?
I think 4 probably.
Yeah. Can you picture 4-year-old Ange? Did you go by Ange at that age?
Angela.
Angela. Can you picture 4-year-old Angela?
Yeah.
Can you describe her to me?
She is full of life and just like so silly. Smiling all the time. Kind of stubborn. Always just like wants to have fun, wants to befriend people.
Yeah, I love that. Fun. I hear spunky when you describe that.
Yeah.
Always wants to befriend people. Probably a little love. Just ready to connect and be held and have friends to play with and be known, be connected. But that little 4-year-old didn't get those things from her dad, did she? Did she get to play when her dad was present? Did she get to be connected with, be spunky around him?
I think she tried. She could be all those things with her mom. And her mom was there and giving her attention and just wanting to know her. And with her dad, like she just felt like annoying and not really even, yeah, just not a priority, not someone who really mattered, just kind of there.
Yeah. Is she revealing any emotion to you inside of that? Are you connecting with anything right now?
I think there is longing and loneliness and maybe even a little bit of like fear attached to that.
Yeah.
It feels like there's something missing.
Yeah. What's she afraid of?
Being alone, having to take care of herself, not being taken care of, not having her needs met, not even having them known or heard.
Yeah. That's really deep. Those are core foundational things that every little girl deserves to see met in her experience of life, inside of her relationships with the people who are supposed to be taking care of her. To be known is God's intention. If he didn't care about that, he wouldn't count the hairs on the top of your head. He cares so much about every detail of who you are. And it was his desire to have little mirrors walking around, showing off his same desires. I want you to have 4-year-old Angela, wherever you are in connection with her, in memory with her, to just take a moment and ask God, God, do I know you at this age? Where are you?
God, where are you? I don't know. I think I knew him. I think I inherently knew him, but I don't know. I don't really see him here.
Yeah. Would you like him to come meet you there?
Yeah.
Okay. With as much faith as you have at this point, little 4-year-old Angela, I want you to invite God to come be your friend, to come show up for you in this moment.
Yeah, he's here.
How did he show up for you?
As a father, as a playmate. Like I can literally see us like playing Barbies and like cleaning my room and yeah.
I love that. How's that sweet little girl responding to her new playmate?
She's just so full, like so full of joy and life and like yeah, so secure. And just like showing God things. Like, God, look at this. Like, look at this dress from this Barbie or like, oh, look at this toy that I have. And like he just cares so much. Like he just like loves, I don't know. He loves watching her. He's so interested in everything she's showing him.
I love that. I want you to take in one deep breath and just drink in this exchange. Just let this playfulness, him knowing you, just let it pour in to your heart. Let it fill you up from the bottom, the soles of your feet, into every crevice of your body and your soul. Whatever comes up and out in that filling process, you can share it with him, say it out loud to him. And if any questions come up, if that little girl gets curious about anything, let's give her a moment to ask those questions.
Why doesn't my dad show up for me? Why can't he why am I not enough for him? Why can't I be first? Like, aren't I supposed to be first? Like, I literally am his daughter. Isn't that how it's supposed to be?
Is he engaging or responding to those questions?
Yeah, I feel like he's saying your dad is broken. He's hurting, he's lacking, and it has nothing to do with you. And you are so first in my life. You are so worth being made a priority. Your existence makes you enough. You're more than enough. And I'm sorry that your dad couldn't show that to you. He didn't have the capability at the time, or maybe even now. But he does love you. You are so, so important to him. Even if he didn't know how to share that, he never learned how to share that. He didn't have parents who shared him that. And that's not an excuse. And it's hurtful and it's painful, and you deserve so much more. Your needs will be met and provided for. They are.
I want you to ask God, how are my needs being provided for?
God, how are my needs being provided for?
if he's encountering you, I want to be respectful of that. Just want to check in. How's that exchange going?
I think he was showing me kind of all of the ways right now in my life he is providing safety and security in my relationship with my best friend, in my mom, in my neighbors, in my part-time job. And I'm trying to ask when, like, how they were being met when I was 4 and I wasn't feeling like they were. And I feel like it feels imperfect, but I can see through different people, through friendships specifically, that he was providing that, through different women in my dad's life, which feels weird because it feels really broken, but I can see him meeting those needs through that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I like where you took that. Are you trusting that your needs are being provided for right now?
Yeah. But I do feel like I don't know, I feel like almost there's like self-sabotage going on. Like, God has given me means to provide myself safety and security, and I don't know, this week has felt so hard to show up for myself and so hard to show up for my life and kind of these routines and habits and like even my business. Like, it's just felt really hard to show up for myself, but I know like 4-year-old Ange is worth showing up for, even if she feels like she doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanna put a pause on any voice of perfectionism right now that is telling you that you should have every dot connected 30 seconds out of an encounter with God. I want to speak against anything that needs to connect the tie from then to now to your future. I just want to re-harness that he said you are worthy at the age of 4 years old. When you asked him what he thought, he said that you are more than enough. He wanted to be there for you and meet your needs. I just want to bring you back to the goodness of that moment and give you so much permission to revel in that as long as you need to. You're up against years of unmet needs and 15 minutes of a met need by God. Pales in comparison to the debt that your Father created in your life. You even heard God's compassion for him, that he was doing the best he could, but that he was broken. You get the spillover. You're in the splash zone of that compassion. That kind of compassion is yours. I just want to speak. I want to plant seeds. I want to speak permission that you don't have to have one further step. not one more ounce of knowledge or understanding, that you get to just have this dropped in your lap because you are worthy and because God cares so much about who you are. I plant seeds in everyone on this call's heart of faith. That He is just that good. He's just that good. He spends eternity being that good for broken humans like us. And He could have chose any position. He could have chose any kingdom. This is what He chose. To come play Barbies with a 4-year-old sweet girl who didn't get the dad and the love and the attention that He wanted her to have. This is the gift of tonight's call. This moment from Him, you get to unwrap that gift every hour of every day, if that's what you need, for it to feel really like yours, like it was truly given to you. How you feeling knowing that that's the gift that you got today?
I feel so much lighter, but I also feel full. Like I feel so filled up and grounded and secure.
I love that. Oh man, well, you knocked it out of the park today. And I mean, seriously, you are a powerful woman who knows what she wants. You have the ability to go out and create a beautiful life for yourself. But what I think is incredibly brave and incredibly life-giving that most people just run right past and brush past is the work that you just did tonight. This is where root systems are restored.
I want to find someone who can do that same work, I really do.
And you will. In Jesus' name, you will.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. That was so enjoyable to come alongside you in, and it's a pleasure to know you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Yeah, that was so good. You guys, let me know in the chat some takeaways that you got. I have seen it pop off the whole time, so I know that some of you guys were engaged and really resonating and really relating. I'm so grateful for that. So grateful that His goodness is in abundance. Wow, I think that's what we asked for on this call today. So amen. Thank you, Jesus. So good. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next question. Sakura. Did I say your name right? Sakura?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I can't believe my question was picked. I was really praying that it would be. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
So good. So I got a little snippet that you are looking to pinpoint attachment in friendship, and that this has been going on for a while. I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah. Okay. So it all started. So I guess this cycle has been, I've seen it since 4th grade. Just a little bit of background, like I moved when I was younger every single year. So like kindergarten, I went to another school. 1st grade, I went to a different school, 2nd, all the way up to like in high school. I did go to the same school in 11th and 12th grade. Hi. But you know, I think that might have something to do with it. But like I was saying, like fourth grade, that's really when I saw like the pattern start. And like I would attach to, it would always be like one, mainly like one girl, right? And like um I guess I would consider that her like my best friend. Um so like I saw this in fourth grade. I mean, and then in so I'll give names. Like in fourth grade, it was Lori. In fifth grade, it was Stephanie. In sixth grade, it was Alexa. In seventh grade, it was Layla, and then so on and so forth. Always like one person that I would attach to. Um, and then what would happen is if ever I saw her like having like another friend or something, I would get so insecure and jealous. Like it would be insane. Um and so yeah, like it's literally repeated. I mean, even like now in my stage of life, it's a different version. And like I said, like I've definitely grown through it. And I've prayed to God so much because it like, it manifested and showed itself in jealousy. So I was like always praying, like, God, like break this jealousy off, you know? And I realized recently that it's not necessarily like jealousy is like a fruit. It's kind of like the branch on the tree. It's not the root. And I guess he was showing me like insecurity is the root. Um, but yeah, like even now in this season, like I have a best friend. And you know, honestly, I do have a mentor, and he was telling me, you know, Takora, you shouldn't use that term best friend because you've kind of like idolized that position, you know, like sorry, I have a little puppy. But yeah. So I'm just like, I'm seeing it now, but I guess it's less subtle and like I've grown a lot. 1 second, I'm just gonna, 1 second.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry guys. I have a new puppy. My roommate has a new puppy, and this is like her playtime. So I'm just gonna be in my room. So yeah, like I guess I shouldn't even say best friend because every time even though like every time I say best friend, it's just like I guess I have this high expectation of like what she should be, you know. Um, and like when those expectations don't get met, it's just like I feel like I fall apart. And I just cannot get, I don't know what's going on. Um, like if I don't hear from her, like it can affect my sleep. Like I'm like, did I do something? Um, so it's just like I feel like it can't be attached to the person per se. I feel like it has to be something in me because like I can even recall like the other person before, her name was Christina. Like the same thing would happen. Like if I wouldn't hear from her or if I knew she had like other close friends, I would get so like, oh my gosh, like I would fall apart. Um, so I really don't know what's going on. Um, I feel like it's definitely has to be connected to my past. Um, and obviously I think it's my attachment style too, since I constantly moved, wasn't able to form bonds. But like I said, I've dealt with this for years, and I just don't know how to get unstuck and like get free from it. So
Well, thank you so much for bringing it here because I think that this is a place where you can get unstuck from things. And so I'm proud of you for coming this far in vulnerability on this topic. Thank you for sharing what's been going on. Yeah, I just want to also tell you that I don't think that you're weird. I don't think that you're lame. I don't think that you are a nerd. These are some like middle school words that are flying into my head right now of just like bullies who tease each other. And I just want to clear the air that this is not that space. And I am nowhere near thinking any of those things about you. And if you ladies agree, you can agree in the chat. And I think it's so powerful just to break off any voices that we've heard. So we'll let our love pierce through those. We love you, girl. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. I have a couple questions for you. I would love to get after some of this and learn more about what's underneath of there.
All right, ready.
Ready? I love it. Okay, these friends, these best friends, Lori, Steph, Alexa, Layla, those are the names I caught. I know there's a couple more.
Oh my
Christina.
God, so much more from every year, I promise.
Yeah. I would love for you just to close your eyes and take a moment to reflect and let me know if you can tell anything that they have in common with each other. Anything coming up for you in that?
So what came to mind is like they were all pretty approachable and pretty welcoming. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Okay. And another question. What was your relationship like with your mom?
That's a really interesting question. So I was kind of reflecting on that too. When I was growing up, so my mom went to nursing school. So like when we were growing up, she was in school pretty much as, you know, and so man, I mean, she took care of us and stuff, but honestly, I don't think we really had much of a bond now that I think about it. You know, there's like there's 5 of us. So I'm the oldest of 5. Um and yeah, I don't know. I don't think we had much of a bond.
Yeah. Okay. I want to just put a pin in that for you and just acknowledge and bring to your inner world's attention that that was a hard question for you to answer. That you're feeling unsure what the relationship like with you and mom was like. Just put a pin in that. And it's possible that that could be something that comes up for you more often throughout this process. If it does, just know that that would probably be normal and it'd be okay just to let that come up and flood a bit. The reason why I asked that question is because the thing that you saw in these friends was their warmth and their welcoming and that they were approachable. And when I hear those words, I kind of hear some feminine qualities, some nurturing qualities, which mom should have. It's
Interesting.
possible that you were looking for something that maybe mom wasn't able to give you. And I don't want to drag you into further steps down the road in this process. I want that to happen really organically for you with God.
Mhm.
But typically, when we turn to other things, other people, other hobbies, other interests, other substances, when we're turning to something, it's because there's a deficit and there's a void. And we're hoping that it can get filled. We're doing everything we can to get that deficit filled. Does that resonate with you?
Oh yeah, for sure. It does.
Yeah. Can you tell what that deficit was for you?
So I really feel like it was attention. Like I went through, I think on the week about pain, it was talking about like the needs. And one of the things that resonated with me was like um attention. I have my thing somewhere, but I don't want to get it. So it was just like, yeah, I think I really craved attention. And, like I said, there were five of us, and um the only place I really got attention from was my Nana. So like whenever I was with her, she, would give me all the attention. But like it was only she only took me places, right? It was only me and her. And so when anybody else would come, I just didn't like that. I just wanted time with her. Um like yeah, so I don't know. And I mean sometimes my cousin would come along, but that wasn't often, and I feel like I didn't feel as threatened with her, there. But like when my other siblings got involved, um I just didn't like that.
Totally.
So
Yeah. How many of you guys have a lot of siblings and felt like you had to compete and share for attention? Totally. Totally. And how many of you guys didn't have big families, but you still felt like you had to fight for attention? Yeah, that's me. I became a competitive dancer just so I could get my little diva side out because I was just screaming for attention. Um, yeah, Victoria, you're doing such a good job. And it's interesting that Nana was a good giver of attention and you enjoyed spending time with her one on one. She probably made you feel really special. And that when other siblings came around and joined in the party with you and your Nana, you didn't like that. And what's so fascinating about that is with these best friends, what would be the point of pain for you is if they started hanging out with someone else or if they weren't responding to you.
mhm.
Do you see some connections there?
Yeah, I think she taught me that she didn't mean to, but I think I learned that connection can only be with, like, if I'm with one other person.
Yeah.
And if somebody else comes in, they're a threat to the bond. And like that's literally in all my relationships. Like if it's like three or more of us, I'm constantly like feeling threatened and like I feel like I'm competing. And it's just like I just want to be free, and just be able to be okay like in myself even if my friend has someone else, and like when like genuinely authentically like okay with it, but I don't know how to get there.
You are on the right track. You want to be free and free you will be. Yes. Yeah, you're doing it. You are doing it. Okay. So
And then I think another thing worth mentioning with Nana, so when we used to hang all the time, she was like not married. And she got married, and like I don't think I didn't, obviously I didn't realize it at the time, but I felt like his name was Mr. Curtis, but like I feel like he stole her from me, because like whenever I would be at her house like all the time, and like whenever I was with her, like I would be in her bed, we would sleep in the same room, and it was just like a bonding time. And then when she got married to him, like she used to go sleep in there with him, and I didn't understand why she was leaving me for him. And I guess I felt, now that I think about it, I guess I felt betrayed and abandoned, and you know um So I honestly think around that time, I believe I was in like, it had to be second or third, a little bit before them that started manifesting, I guess, with the best friend. So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I keep getting this picture in my mind of the Wizard of Oz when the tornado came and picked the house up off the ground. And all I can see in my mind right now is this house floating around inside of the tornado. And it's not on the concrete foundation like it was intended to be, like it was built to be.
Mm.
And I think, the opposite of insecurity is secure.
Yeah.
The best, most healthiest form of attachment based on psychology and science is a secure attachment. But I'm not sure if you really got a good picture of security, of groundedness, of a home that you could make a home. I bet you were more familiar with how to pack your bags than you were to form deep, secure attachments with people.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the significance of that. What comes up for you inside of that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like as a young girl, I don't know if I necessarily knew we were going to be moving, but I guess it started to become a thing where I just was kind of numb to it and it, whatever, it happened and um I don't know, I think friends were just I knew I was going to probably be moving and so what's the point? Um uh yeah. Uh, I think I'm always kind of ready to move and like even recently, I was in another apartment than I'm in now and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll probably end up in Texas or it's just like I'm always planning my next move and always feeling like I'm not going to stay, you know, I just I just feel like I'm never going to have um like a home, I guess. Like I'm always going to be moving and people are always going to be leaving.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I'm also curious if there's any trauma around saying goodbye.
Hmm. Well, for sure. So I think one of the most traumatic okay. So when I was in 4th grade, oh, okay. I know something just came up. So, and I feel like this kind of connects. Yeah, it does. Yes. I was actually journaling about this earlier. Okay. So, I was journaling that I felt like I was a burden, like I was always passed off to someone. Like I feel like during the summers, my mom was always trying to find somewhere for us to go, and I don't really know what my dad was doing. But yeah, like she was always trying to find somewhere for me and my siblings to go. Um, and so I remember like I went with my grandma, my dad's mom, somewhere, and I expected to be with her. And she ended up taking me to some stranger's house. And I don't know, like I felt comfortable with women, but the lady my grandma dropped me off with, I didn't know her from Adam's Eve. And she ended up passing me over to her husband and I was with him and I remember just feeling scared and I guess, you know, So that's a big experience that came to mind. And then another thing was my dad used to take me places. So like whenever I would go out with him in the car, he would always leave me in the car. I was terrified, like hiding hiding under the seats because I was afraid of getting kidnapped. Like if there were some jackets, I would try to cover myself, and like he didn't care, that I was afraid and that I didn't want to be left. He just still would go. And I remember one time I was in Target, we were in the parking lot, and I was just in the car, terrified. And that happened quite a few times. So yeah.
Yeah. There's so much in this, but I feel a real invitation on what you just shared. Would it be okay to go through a little encounter of being left in the car?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna cry.
Okay. I might cry too. I feel it working its way up. Ladies, for any of you that this has been resonating with, for anyone who has felt afraid of being left alone, afraid of being passed along or uprooted or forced to leave any sense of security, I'd love for you just to let your own experiences come up right now. Bring to mind the memory that each of these ladies will use if they want to participate in this encounter. And Takora, for you, I'd love for you to just close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And again, I want to speak against any bullying voices that are coming up right now. Every woman on this call is either so engaged that they want to go after something in their own life because of what you shared, or they're going to choose to be for you, to link arms with you, to hold space for you. Your story so matters. Your experience as a little girl is important to me. You are worthy of being set free. And Takora's heart, we're going to come in to a layer of vulnerability that we haven't been to before together. Me, Jenny, coming into a layer of vulnerability. There's depth to you, and my only motive and intention is just to see who you are and what you've been experiencing in your life. I don't want to fix you. I don't want to point out your flaws. I don't want to poke holes in the things that you've created to make you feel safe. I'm disarmed. And if you'll let us, Takora's heart, would you just let her reconnect to that Target parking lot where Dad left her in the car? And Takora, just let me know when you're there.
I'm here.
What are you remembering about that day?
So I just remember like being surrounded by cars, and like it wasn't sunny, it was like overcast, and like I was by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there wasn't no one there to like protect me, even though I asked for it.
You're doing good.
And I just remember like being crouched down and like trying to find everything to like cover me and like shield me and guard me from like any danger. Um yeah.
Yeah. If you could have had any protector there with you, what do you wish that you had?
Like I wish my dad was there cuz he like I think for me I saw him as like strength, you know? Like I for whatever reason like when I think of my dad like I think of like his muscles and so like if anything like he could protect me. So I think that's who I would have preferred, but like anyone in the car, well, I guess an adult, because like even when it was just me and my siblings, I would still get afraid. But like if there was an adult there, namely my dad.
Yeah. Yeah. I want that little girl to imagine her perfect dad. It's your earthly dad. It's his body, his muscles, his height, his age, his wisdom, his experience, his role. But it's his perfect form. It's the exact replica of who God created him to be before anything in this life came and tainted. It's his spirit that is currently communed with Holy Spirit seated in heavenly places right now, who knows no pain, who knows no distraction, who's capable of fixing his eyes on you, his precious daughter. Can you imagine him?
Yeah. Um and I think the word that comes to mind or that I'm longing for is just like engaged. And like he's present and engaged and like is interested in my life.
In this moment right now, where you're so afraid of your surroundings and you're searching the car to find things to cover yourself with, I want you to imagine perfect dad coming right up to you, right into the car, and engaging with you.
Like I see him like I'm still like kind of like bent over on the chair in the back seat, but like he has like come and like hugged me and um like told me like it's okay. And I think it's just like his presence that I want.
Yeah. I want you to let him know that you're longing for his presence. want you to let him know how you feel when he's around.
You want me to say it out loud?
If you want to,
Um,
there's no rules.
Daddy, I feel safe when you're here, and yeah, can you just like stay with me?
I want you to ask that perfect dad if he has the capacity to engage with you more often.
Okay. Daddy, can you like talk to me, spend time with me, be with me like more? Can we do more things together?
What does he think about your invitation?
Like, he says yeah with no problem, like there's no hesitation. It's almost like silly, like, of course, why would you ask me that?
Yeah. What are some things that you'd like to do with him now that you know it's no problem?
So like I would go into Target with him, like holding his hand, um just like walking down the aisles. Like we would go to restaurants and like eat together. Like I think those are like actually some of my favorite things to do, and um like he would actually be like a part of it instead of like detached from it.
Yeah. I want you to let him take that little girl's hand and open up the door of the car and help her get out. Put her feet on the pavement and let her take a big, deep breath of fresh air. Whirl her one spin around and let her look around at her surroundings in a new perspective outside of the car. Now I want that perfect dad who says it's no problem to engage with you. What else would we be doing? I want him to take that precious little girl's hand and walk her inside of Target. Take her up and down the aisles. Point at things, play with things, pull things down off the shelf. Play tag and hide and seek. Sit down on the floor of the aisle like there's nowhere else that they need to be. What do you notice about the little girl who gets to go into Target with her dad?
Um, so like, okay, so in all honesty, I like when I went in, it was like sunny and like I see just like the reflection of the sun on the back of a car, and then like I'm just really happy going in. But it seemed like it was hard for me to envision my dad actually, like I saw him fine in the car, but like when was envisioning him going into Target, it was like it was really hard to imagine that. And so it just seemed like his form changed. Um, and I don't know if that's just a resistance, like me thinking like, no, he would never do it. But I mean, I still saw myself in Target, and like my my countenance was different, and I was just like joyful. But I noticed that like twice, like when we were coming from the car, he was still the perfect dad, but then like when he walks in, it's like I guess there's almost a hesitation, and it seems like he changes form, like he's a different person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. I think we just got to bump into a boundary there. And there was enough trust to believe him to be good and helpful and true and for you until there wasn't enough trust to see him in that same way. And that's okay. I honor the boundary and the barrier that you uncovered in this process. I honor the level of trust that feels genuine and authentic. There's no further amount that I wish you were at. There's no level deeper. There's no amount of trust that I think you should have. I think it's fun to get to uncover those. And it's really normal. Really normal. God helps us with our trust. He helps us to grow that. And He will help you. And in the meantime, I honor where you're at. I have homework for you, Sakura.
Okay.
This weekend, go to Target and wander up and down the aisles. And just take note of what you observe in that assignment. See what things you go to look at. See what things you end up buying. I don't suggest getting a cart because you'll fill it. That's the
Yeah, that's gonna.
But go and see what sparks inside of you. Ask God what kind of presence is with you. Who is with you at Target when you go? And no matter how it goes, no matter what you learn, no matter how connected or disconnected, no matter how quickly or not quickly you bump into that boundary that we bumped into tonight, just take observation. What do you think about that?
I am going to do it. I like it.
Well, I love that. Well, I look forward to hearing what you learned. If it's something that you choose to share, it's not required that you do. This is all information about you that you have access to, that you get to utilize that access. You get to tap in what makes you come alive. You get to learn where the boundaries are. You get to be with yourself and meet yourself exactly where you're at. You get to ask God who's with you as you go.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, you did so good. That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. There was a lot of vulnerability that was extended in your story. I feel really honored to have been able to receive that extension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That was amazing. Never done that before.
Yeah, me neither. I get to roll with it. I get to tell you about my tornado visions and tell you to go to Target for homework. That's fun for me as a coach. It really is. I love it. Yes. Some of you guys who have been on my calls are cracking up right now. I see that. So good. Okay, you guys, we have about 7 minutes left. And actually, I'm really curious if Jessica Howard is still on here. I saw your photo tile and
I'm here.
here. There's not enough time to coach you through your question, but I would love to hold the rest of this space just for you. Is there anything that you would like to be known in? I'd also love to pray for you. So if you spare me a few minutes at the end, I'd love to hear from you and know you and then also pray for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Um, yeah, I guess like what's been coming up for me in like all of these calls is like I feel so like disconnected from my heart. And so like it's actually really triggering like watching people like encounter God in their heart and stuff like that. So yeah. Um and I like every time I like try to engage, it's just like it feels like I'm trying to pursue God instead of like him trying to pursue me. And like, yeah, so it's just like really painful.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for that pain that feels violating. I'm so sorry that you're looking at hope and connection and restoration happen right in front of you, but it feels out of reach. And it doesn't feel like it's for you. I just want to speak so much love and compassion over you, Jessica. You stand out of a crowd. You stand out. I was drawn to you. I'm a nobody, but I was drawn to you. God inside of me highlighted you. You're precious. I hear him say you're rare. Like this hidden gem, and you aren't like any other. You're the most rare and the most precious. And Holy Spirit, in your strength, would you just pierce through the lies? Would you just break through, find the weak spots in those lies, find the broken parts of those shields. Get through to your daughter, God, get through. Break through. And what to do, be a gentleman. I believe you want to be a gentleman. You want to respect her and honor her and show her that you're near and that you're not going anywhere. Support her, Papa. Extend the invitation to dance with her. And wait like I know you to do for the perfect moment when she feels empowered to accept. Anna, would you just turn up the lights in her life? Would you just flood out darkness? Would you just expand the lamplight that is currently turned on, guiding her feet? Would you show her your bigness? Would you prove to her your goodness? Would you let her see a win? Would you let her see your victorious nature? Would you prove to her that you've already triumphed over the enemy, that you've already taken that ground? Would you meet with her at the base of the cross? Would you just let her explore that place on Calvary, God? Would you let new revelation, fresh understanding just fall into her brain? She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to posture herself or pray the right way. Would you just fall on her, God, in Jesus' name? Just craft right over her and drip over every area, every ounce of her body. Just smother her in golden honey of goodness. To just reignite play. You let her laugh. Would you let her have jokes, inside jokes with you, Papa? Just whisper in her ear things that feel more true than anything the enemy has ever spoken over her life. And you just hold her. Give her the perfect resting place. Pull up a chair for her. Let her sit and know that she can trust. Not in any reoccurring or regular visitors of insecurity. Would you just redirect their path? Never let them find her again. Guide her like the precious and rare stone that she is. Keep her covered until you've met with her, God. I thank you for your unique relationship with Jessica. I thank you that it can look different than anyone else in this program, anyone else on this call, and that it's still good. That it's still good. It's because you're good, God, and you made a good daughter. You did good when you created Jessica. You did good. I'm going to stand in agreement with what God is doing in your life. agree with you, God. I partner with you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really, really appreciate that.
So much love to you, girl. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, he just cares. He just does.
So good.
Yes. Taylor, I always start